Audits, back live from Cookstown, New Egypt. And we're here. We tried this the other day, but due to Memorial Day and other things going on, the gate was closed. Can't do anything about it if they're not open. So either way, I am here, as always. I'm going to flip it around for you guys. Joined with Freedom Doggo. Mikey Sherrill is a nice lady running for governor. I'm not sure if it's her or Gottheimer I'm going for yet, but certainly it's better than the alternatives. Either way, we're here outside of Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. The day of my infamous and somewhat controversial September 26th audit, where I was here. Several patriots and bootlickers got upset that I was filming the military base, and I received a ticket for a $7.95 charge. And I was going to go fight it and everything like that. But during the process, after everyone decides to actually listen to me, or the process, like it just got to that point, they decide they have to actually watch the film, look at the paperwork, and all this other stuff. And lo and behold, the judge, the prosecutor, my attorney get themselves in a little room. They sit there and say, okay, if you want to continue this prosecution, here's what's going to happen. Number one, he's going to be found not guilty because he's doing constitutionally protected activities. Number two, he wants to bring everybody involved, including the Inspector General's people who told him that he was on base property, and question them, and then have him brought up on UCMJ charges for not knowing their orders. All right, and several other severely court-martialable offenses. So, charges were dropped, and I'm back celebrating. Flip this around. Do a little swippy swap. This right here, this little area is the supposed protest area for the gate that I was at. Here is the scene of the crime, as the military police would like to consider it, even though there was no crime committed. This was a temporary entrance because of construction, repaving, whatever it may be. But either way, it's no longer open, no longer accessible, and no longer relevant. But this is where I was told I was guilty of espionage. If that's what a $7.95 charge amounts to, is something that was put in. Sorry about the noise. Soldiers being soldiers, they got some interesting, cool cars, and they're loud. Because generally they don't have to follow many traffic laws. Now, from here down, I have 25 feet from that curve in as the easement. They told me it was 100 feet from the center of the road, but that didn't make any sense because obviously that would put me on a lot of people's property. But after doing some digging, I have 25 feet technically from the curb to the end of the easement. We're going to keep going here. I'm just going to do a little bounce. I might have to put it down for a moment if he does a poop. But it's just ironic. I hear all this about the service and sacrifice to protect our freedoms, and yet here I am, most of the people stateside that are charged with preserving and defending our freedoms choose to do the exact opposite. The other thing I find completely ironic, a couple of weeks ago, they had the Roar at the Shore, Thunder and Pines, whatever it is, air show at this military base. They invite the public in. They have this air show every 2 years. And with it, they invite the public in. I went. Not to audit, because once I'm on that side of the fence, I have to play by their rules. That's a good hole. But either way, I went just as a spectator. I had my camera out at the gate saying hello to the MPs. All right, like they were doing the real deal, like with the mirrors and the dogs and everything else, which I get, because you're inviting basically 250,000 people onto your Air Force base. So I get it. They checked everyone out, and they didn't ban cameras. They didn't ban dash cameras. They didn't ban Teslas. So one of three things are going to happen. They're going to leave me alone, which is possible. They're going to try and antagonize me, which is possible. And when I say antagonize me, they're going to want to talk to me, but they're going to want to invite me onto their property, knowing that once I cross a certain invisible threshold, I'm cooked. Now, when I went and I did the audit at Naval Weapons Station Earl in Colts Neck, the airmen tried doing the same thing by getting me across the blue line, and I wouldn't do it. If they had just come out and spoke to me, I would have been more than happy to engage in some nice polite discourse with them. But they didn't. So after a little bit, they called the Colts Neck police. Colts Neck police said, "Hey, how you doing? You're good." All right. They came. I think they even pet Oliver. I'm not 100% sure. All right. That's a major flood hazard. We have guys on YouTube. There's this guy. I want to give him a little shout out. His name is Post 10. All right. He's a guy that lives up in New England. And he goes around clearing out culverts and other drainage type assemblies, mainly in the woods, but keeping the woods flowing, keeping the roads from being washed out. That just reminds me of him. I will say this to my Short Points fans and Short Points audience. Between Post 10 and another guy called the Penetrator, yeah, don't even go there. He's an Australian drain cleaner. And I don't know why. I can't tell you why. But it's absolutely mesmerizing to watch these guys do what they do. Maybe it's the weed, but that's what I first thought, except for the fact that other people I know who definitely do not smoke weed and don't even drink will enjoy the same thing. So I strongly suggest, in between watching Americans protect and preserve our freedoms, that you watch Post 10, P-O-S-T, and then the number 10, all one word. I promise you guys, I applied for monetization. I got a whole bunch of videos in the cooker. And more importantly, somebody was very nice to show me how to bleep out things, because in my efforts, a few public officials tried doxing me with my own information. So I couldn't figure out for a long time how to bleep it. Now somebody showed me how to bleep it. So I got about, 10 to 15 videos available. And here's the kicker. I did an audit in Lakewood, New Jersey, one of the craziest towns by demographic in New Jersey, There's a large Spanish, Black, and Orthodox population, and man, the town is just cuckoo. Either way, I went to do the audit at City Hall in the police department, and I caught a cop there who had an inspection sticker on his car, on his truck, that was 5 years expired. And after speaking to a cop that was outside, I guess doing paperwork, whatever, this guy really wrote him a ticket. And I asked him, is it a warning? No, it's an actual ticket. He asked me how I knew if it was a police officer. Well, he had the official Lakewood police officer winter coat. So the only way you're going to get to wear that coat is if you're a Lakewood police officer. And he wrote the ticket. I almost damn near fell over. I'm going to say this. The GPS lied. I took an Uber. I mean, look, they could identify me because I have my name already. But I took an Uber just in case. And the GPS said, oh, you have 0.2 miles. 0.2 miles in my butt. This is a lot more than 0.2 miles. This is half a mile maybe. Look, I'll deal with the RSD pain after the fact. I will say this. I suffer from a disease called RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's also known as complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS. It's kind of like how Lou Gehrig's and ALS are the same disease, just different names. Either way, I fell off a ladder. And I really screwed myself up. Not so much physically. Yeah, my leg ain't so hot. But realistically, it was this nerve disease that did me in. I used to not only live a regular tax-paying, suburban, somewhere between a blue and white collar life. I made great money. And I had the world by my grasp. There was nothing I couldn't do, within reason, of course. But either way, most things I could afford to do. I didn't have a drug problem. I never had a drinking problem or anything like that. I did have a pissing money away issue. I'm not recommending or advocating people do drugs. But I will say this, that if you spend a lot of money partying, you usually get a couple cool stories out of it. I spent it on clothes. I spent it on going out to eat, drinking. I would buy a nice bottle of wine and drink it. Not by myself, of course. Because, most people shouldn't drink an entire bottle of wine by themselves. But, Morton's is my favorite place in the whole wide world as far as restaurants. I do miss the old days where they had the meat carts where they bring out all the different cuts and they had a live lobster. I remember I'd go there with different girls. They'd always freak out because they thought the lobster was like a plastic display model, but it wasn't. Okay, so let's look at some signage. That's just a road sign. I know by looking at the GIS that the border is technically that fence. I'm not going to go near that fence because I'm not playing that much. But as I told you before, I got 25 feet from the curb. And I believe, I'm not entirely sure, I didn't bring my ruler, but I believe that this sign here, the U.S. Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, is just on their side of the line. What's up, dude? Hey, guys. Drive safe. Why is my phone not cooperating in zooming? drone zone. Okay, cool. I'm not flying a drone. There's the DoD installation sign. And let's see, we got, let's zoom it out, make you guys less seasick. We got the Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, and Space Force. I still don't know how Space Force got away with taking the Star Trek symbol. For the most part, they modified it a little bit, but that's basically the Star Trek symbol. They're down there. We're gonna go take a little walkie walk over here. Yeah, no. Oh, shit, I'm sorry. I don't want to get in trouble for... My car looked like it was left-hand drive for a moment. Alright, so now... This ain't gonna work. Oh, there's the police dude. He'll be back. Unfortunately. He can always ask what I'm doing here. I'm not worried about that. They're allowed to ask. But they're not allowed to bark orders and tell me I can't film. And... Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I'm still getting used to working this thing. I see that there are 6 of you. Thank you for watching. 7 of you. I hope to, well, provide great content by being left alone. In a perfect world. Oh, wait. There he is. He's gonna keep an eye on me from afar. Hi! I see you! You're probably watching. I'm sorry, guys. I'm waving to him. Not trying to make you all dizzy and seasick. Either way, we're gonna go back over there. Thank you, El Hut. I do this for you, even if you want to call me a loser. Alright? I do it because you have the right to call me a loser. You may not like it, you may not even understand it, you don't have to. But in my own little way, I'm making sure that no one's going to come kick down your door because you called me a loser. Not me, I'm talking about a government agent. You know, that kind of stuff goes on in North Korea. West Taiwan, the Great China, East Ukraine maybe, you know, Slavic Special Ed. Ooh. Sorry, HLC is funny as you know what. Hi, Freedom Doggo. Protecting our freedom. Protecting our freedom. There's a can back for you. What was that? Unknown yet. I just got here. They're certainly watching me, but as far as getting mad at me, we'll see. I hope not, because the whole reason they exist is to make sure I have the right to do this. Short Points Audits on YouTube. I want to go to the other side. Hold on. We got a little bit. You want a belly rub? I'll give you the belly rub. Freedom Doggo is a great boy, and he keeps me upright, keeps me safe. And all he ever wants out of life is love. He doesn't get to engage much because he is my service dog, but there are times where he's kind of off duty and around my family and friends where he can still do his service dog stuff, but he gets to do more regular dog stuff. Without him, I couldn't even drive here. Cute puppy, thank you. And whoever said hi, everyone, hello to you too. Let's go over here. I just want to see, because, like, look, I can get the gate over there. I just don't know. I might be better off on that corner or here. Either way, where I was at doesn't seem to be it. He drove off. Don't worry, dude, I ain't coming to say hello yet. If he was still there, oh, I definitely would go engage with him. We're gonna go over here, Oliver, for just a minute. Guys, I don't really want to get you. I'm not necessarily here for the rank and file soldiers. Oh, hell yeah. We want to be on this corner. Okay. Let's deploy the tripod and get set up here. Okay. Now, come on, guy. This way we'll get everyone, we get the gate. And technically everyone coming out, even though only half these soldiers have front license plates. Not because they're doing anything wrong like the New Jersey police officers do. It's just that if a car is registered in a state that doesn't require front license plates, it doesn't require front license plate, like this Toyobaru. Thank you for turning down your music. He knows what's up. I'm not worried about them, these guys. I don't even have a beef, but any bones I would have to pick are not with the rank and file. Yeah. I'll stay right here for a minute. Keep it zoomed up. I wonder where that military, isn't it? Security forces? Like, it's weird. Technically, they're military police, but they're not MPs. I don't understand that they're, like, actual cops. But for the police, but for the military. All this was redone. The first time I came out here, the first time I had a problem with Sergeant Thumb, all this was closed off. It was all being, I guess, repaved and redone. The pavement looks, yeah, about 6 months old, and all that, so whatever. Otherwise, this is where I guess the first deed would have went down. They are DOD police, yeah. And look, thank you. I have no, I really, like, look, I have no real disrespect towards them. They got their job to do. I have my job to do. And, like, I am out to not harm the military police in any way, shape, or form. It was suggested to me due to the nature of the tickets and everything and just the way they prosecuted. That sounded healthy. The way they prosecuted to sue the DOD and sue I'm not going to sue a soldier. What are you, nuts? Not only would no court in the world take it, I wouldn't do it because that's, you know, not over a camera. You know, if the soldier assaulted me or something like that, maybe that's a different story, but that soldier would probably end up getting their ass beat. Either way, that's not what I'm all about. I'm not here to, not these guys. I would like clarification so that this way they know their orders. That would be nice. I would like to go to the Inspector General's office and not have them tell me that where I'm at right now is on the military base and subject to 795 no filming. I did a deep dive into this, and there's special red signs that have to be in place. And 795 is set off by Executive Order 10104 or 1041, whatever it is. You'll look it up, I'm sure. But it basically says you are allowed to take certain portions of a military base and label them as top secret. I mean, it makes sense to you. It makes sense to me. Obviously, I wouldn't want me to be able to go walk up and just like go pick out a nuclear weapon and sit there and say, okay, I'm going to take this B-61 Mod 13 that you guys just built. I'm going to take it home and build a coffee table out of it. No, I don't want anything like that. But certainly it says you can't put anything top secret right next to the goddamn road. Doesn't matter what it is. Vandenberg Air Force Base is a huge thing online where it basically says the entire, I think it's the west section of the base, maybe it's the east section, like there's no filming at all allowed. All right, Teslas are not allowed there. You are not allowed to have dash cameras, and that's the rules. I get it. You know, I don't want them selling stuff to North Korea or even just having stuff out there unintentionally, because I have a tendency to believe most of our soldiers, there's one of them, the DOD police, I have a tendency to believe most of our soldiers are not spies. You know, I think they're great people doing a job that most of us didn't do. Yeah, I mean, they are soldiers. They are prone to do dumb things like get DUIs and bar fights and all that kind of stuff. But in some way, it almost comes with the territory. You know, they shouldn't be driving around drunk. And a bar fight, well, I guess it depends on the situation. But they're not actual cops. They don't need to be held to a higher standard. Yeah, if they're committing war crimes or something like that, it's a different story, but they're not. I know all these guys right here, except maybe that's a girl. They're doing their part. They signed their name on the dotted line to serve for 4 years. And I know the first thing that they do, whatever your name is, do hereby promise to support, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's the very first thing. It's the most important part. And well over 98% of them do it. I think a lot of people see the cameras and they either don't care, don't understand, whatever it may be. That's fine. I have no problem with that. Last night, you'll see a video that I shot with Jersey Watcher, where we were up in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and just had some dead time because some plans went awry and had an hour or so to kill. So we went and we shot at Earth and Ivy Cannabis Dispensary, and the lady came out and said, we don't give you permission, we don't consent, all that kind of stuff. And respectfully, nicely, we had a thing saying that we don't need your permission, you don't need consent, we're not on your property, all that, the typical stuff. And in the next 15 minutes, 4 cops came by. None of them stopped. None of them did anything. Yeah, they did do the police creep when they got right up to where we were, but they see a couple guys with cameras, one with a service dog, because Oliver was in his full gear for actually being in public. And there's that. You understand something. While Oliver is my service dog, generally, unless I'm going inside what would be considered public access, like inside a restaurant, supermarket, the mall, places like that, actual places that you go and wouldn't normally expect to see a dog, that's when I'll put on his regular service dog gear. He does the same thing. The gear doesn't make a difference, but all the gear, it doesn't matter the size of the dog or who makes it, it's all semi-rigid. And if he's just chilling like he is now, laying at my feet, why should he be less comfortable? If I was to go inside anywhere, yeah, I have his service dog harness and his service dog leash right in my bag. But for this, nah. He does his job. He keeps me upright. This guy's got Japanese plates. That's cool. I love your right-hand drive. She was kind of cute too. Damn. Cute girl driving an old Skyline. Right-hand drive. Yeah. I'll just say this. Oh, to be young again. Youth is wasted on the young, and I can only encourage you, if you're a younger viewer, waste less time, waste less money too. You don't have to spend your entire life busting your hump working, but when you do take time for yourself, make sure you make it worth your while. Make sure the people in your life are worth the time. You don't want to be surrounding yourself by questionable people, let alone bad people. And don't piss it all away on $400, $500, $600 dinners. And we're talking in like the late 90s, early 2000s, $400, $500, $600 dinners, which I don't even know what the hell that equate to now, but probably a lot more, double probably. I didn't do it to impress a girl. I did it because it was me. I go down to Atlantic City, and I'm not a gambler. I'll play a little bit, but I get bored, win, lose, or draw. They get mad at me. Last time I was there, I actually was lucky enough. I walked out with about 4K because even though I was on a hot streak and everyone was telling me not to get up, not to walk away, I got antsy. I didn't want to sit there, and I took my money, I ran. Alana, Oliver, and I went to, Moorings was closed for a private party, so we went to Old Homestead over at the Borgata. They're pretty good, but I will tell you this. Alright. Hold on, we got some guys coming here with some rumbly bumbly V8s. Long live the American V8. I'm a carnivore. I will never, ever, ever be confused with a vegetarian or a vegan. It just doesn't happen. Will never happen. So, I learned a lot about meat. I worked at some kitchens, I worked at some restaurants, and I learned. Now, everybody's talking about Kobe and Wagyu beef. There's very few places on this planet you can get Kobe and Wagyu beef, real Kobe and Wagyu beef, and you'll know the difference. Um, right now in America, there are 7 places licensed and certified by the Imperial Beef Council, the Japanese Imperial Beef Council rather, and one of them is Old Homestead Steakhouse, but not all of them. Only the one in Manhattan. Now you go there and you'll tell the difference because, if you see a Kobe or a Wagyu beef on the menu and it's like 60, 70 bucks, 80 bucks, alright, it's fake. Real 85 Kobe Wagyu runs these days probably about $35 an ounce with usually a 6-ounce minimum. So it is what it is, but it is so good. I strongly recommend, you can look up online, just Google places to get real Kobe beef, because you're not going to find it at your butcher, you're not going to find it at your supermarket, you're not going to find it at basically every restaurant in America except for 7 of them. You can get takeout beef where they will cut you a steak and you bring it home and cook it yourself. I do not recommend that because most people are not qualified, skilled to cook a $1,200 steak, but some people don't learn. I've seen what makes a Kobe steak. Alright, they're raised better than Oliver. They have the worst end, but until that last minute or so, they're living the life of Riley. They had their own super hot geishas like coming out and massaging them several times a day. They don't live near barbed wire and fences, so that this way when they're done, their hides are usually sent to like high-end luxury manufacturers. They're fed a thing of rice and select grains and stuff like that, and beer. They very rarely actually drink water. They do keep you drink some because I guess you can't have a 2,000-pound drunk cow all over the place. But either way, these cows are treated like kings right up until they're butchered. And it is special. They're a special breed. Alright. It's all marbling. It doesn't look like beef. It looks like a cartoon almost. And it's so good. I'm sitting here talking about this and getting hungry. Well, guys, I'm going to say this. I got a much warmer reaction than I did the last time I was here. I'm happy that at one point I had maybe 30 of you in here. I think it's awesome that I didn't have an issue. As I told you, the most perfect audits are the ones where they observe, maybe even report, but they leave me alone. Certainly if that security guard had come out here and said, hey, what's going on? He's got a right to ask. Alright, he shouldn't, but he certainly got the right to. It's what he does after that becomes the issue. That's why I'm out here doing what I do. Because all too often, the next thing is, oh, you can't film here, you can't be here, you're trespassing, all that nonsense. And not only is it not true, no one likes a bully. I don't care if they're in a military uniform. No one likes a bully. We're not in Fallujah or in Afghanistan. We're here in good old, well, I guess technically this is Pemberton, New Jersey, or North Hanover. Lakehurst, which is part of this place, is about as far far west as you can get on this base from here. This road here, Defense Installation Boulevard, well, you know, there's a couple roundabouts over there, but for the most part, it's a straight road for, I don't know, 10, 15 miles, and everything shoots off of it. There's even like main roads that shoot off of it, but for the most part, this is the main road that cuts through the base, or one of the main roads that cuts through the base. Either way, it is what it is. Short Points family, it was a good audit. We were left alone. We love you. We'll see you again. Look out for new videos. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to create actual update as far as what went on over the winter. Not to say I didn't want to be out here for you guys. I was having major health problems. As it is, I'm being held up by hopes and dreams and thoughts and prayers and everything else right now. But I'll get to that. I'll share it with you in something else, something different. I think I'm going to end the live now. Freedom Doggo is just chilling like a little villain, even though he's a good boy. Short Points Audits. Like, comment, subscribe. I guess, with all being equal, we don't have to come back. Maybe a year, next summer, we'll check it out. But I think the problem corrected itself. Have a good night, everyone. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Tell your mother you love her. All that good stuff. Love you. Bye. Are you sure you want to stop the streaming? Unfortunately, yes.